Why do some people pray constantly, and yet nothing in their life really changes? Why do others, often living in silence and hidden sacrifice, seem to radiate a deep peace and transformation that cannot be explained by circumstance or personality? Is it just temperament issue, or is something essential, something structural missing from the way we approach God? Many Catholics are familiar with divine mercy. They know the image. They may pray the chaplet. They trust in God's forgiveness. But here is the uncomfortable question no one seems to want to ask. If divine mercy is so powerful, why do so many who seek it remain spiritually stagnant? Why does nothing seem to shift? Why do the same wounds remain open year after year? There is something deeper happening here, because for certain saints, divine mercy was never just a devotion. It was never a chaplet prayed at 3 PM and then forgotten. It was a way of living, a daily structure that shaped every decision, every suffering, every prayer, every moment of weakness, and every moment of grace. And this is where Padre Pio quietly stands apart. If you want to grow in your understanding of the Catholic faith throughout the church year, subscribe and continue this journey with us, because what we are about to uncover may completely change how you understand mercy, and why it may not be working the way you expected. Padre Pio did not treat divine mercy as an occasional prayer or a comforting idea. For him, divine mercy was something you entered into, something you cooperated with actively, daily, deliberately. It required response. It demanded participation. It was not a spiritual safety net. It was a living relationship with the God who heals. He understood that God's mercy is infinite, but it is not mechanical. It is not something we receive passively while remaining unchanged. Mercy heals, but it also calls. It forgives, but it also transforms. And that transformation, Padre Pio understood, requires something real from us. For Padre Pio, this transformation had a very concrete path. It was not vague. It was not optional. It was structured around 3 essential realities: confession, the rosary, and the Mass. First, frequent confession. Padre Pio spent hours every day hearing confessions, sometimes up to 16 hours. Why? Because he knew that divine mercy is most directly encountered in the sacrament of reconciliation. Mercy is not just felt, it is received through absolution. It enters the soul through the words of a priest acting in the person of Christ. Many people pray for peace while quietly avoiding the confessional. They ask for healing while refusing the sacrament that delivers it. Padre Pio would say that this disconnect is exactly why nothing changes. Sin blocks grace. Mercy removes it. But only if we come honestly, humbly, and regularly, not just in moments of crisis, but as a steady rhythm of spiritual life. Second, the rosary. Padre Pio called it his weapon, not as a metaphor for aggression, but as a spiritual defense. He prayed dozens of rosaries daily. Some accounts say as many as 35. Why such intensity? Because the rosary keeps the soul anchored in the mysteries of Christ's life. It forms the heart. It trains the mind to dwell on eternal things rather than on fear and anxiety. It creates a rhythm of grace throughout the day, quietly sanctifying the ordinary. Many people pray occasionally when they feel like it. Padre Pio prayed consistently whether he felt like it or not. That is the difference between devotion as a habit and devotion as a way of life. Third, the Mass. For Padre Pio, the Mass was the center of everything. He did not rush it, he lived it. His Masses could last for hours, not because he was adding something extra, but because he entered deeply into the reality of Christ's sacrifice unfolding on that altar. He understood what many Catholics have slowly forgotten. Divine mercy flows most fully from the cross, and the Mass makes that sacrifice present, not symbolically, really. If someone neglects the Mass or treats it casually, they are stepping away from the very source of mercy they claim to seek. This changes how we see divine mercy. It is not just about asking for forgiveness. It is about deliberately placing ourselves where mercy is given most fully, in the sacraments, in the mysteries, in the sacrifice. Historically, the Church has always understood mercy in this way. From the earliest centuries, Christians practiced regular confession, participated faithfully in the Eucharist, and used repetitive, meditative prayer like the Psalms or later the Rosary to remain close to God. What we see in Padre Pio is not something new or eccentric. It is the ancient tradition lived with extraordinary intensity and clarity. But here is what many people overlook. There are common misunderstandings about divine mercy that quietly weaken its power in our lives. One misunderstanding is thinking that mercy replaces effort. Some believe that because God is merciful, personal discipline is unnecessary. But Padre Pio's entire life was a refutation of this logic. Mercy is not an excuse for spiritual laziness. It is precisely the reason we strive at all. We strive because we have been forgiven. God gives grace freely, but we are still called to cooperate and to respond. Another misunderstanding is reducing mercy to a feeling. People often expect to feel forgiven, to feel peace, to feel close to God. When those feelings do not come, they assume something is wrong. Padre Pio frequently experienced profound dryness and suffering, yet he remained faithful, not because he felt God's presence, but because he trusted God's promises. Mercy is not measured by emotion. It is measured by trust and perseverance. The absence of feeling is not the absence of grace. So what does this mean for us today? It means that if we want to experience divine mercy more deeply, we have to move from occasional devotion to daily structure, not heroic structure. Humble, consistent, daily structure. Go to confession regularly, even when it feels routine. Do not wait until things are serious. Regular confession keeps the conscience sensitive and allows mercy to shape you continuously rather than only in crisis. Pray the rosary with intention, not just repetition. Even 1 decade prayed attentively can begin to transform how you see your day and how you respond to difficulty. Start small, but start. Approach the Mass with awareness. Prepare before it begins. During the Mass, remember where you are, standing at the foot of the cross, receiving the greatest act of mercy ever offered in human history. Afterward, give thanks. Let the grace settle before you rush back into the world. And perhaps most importantly, stop measuring your spiritual life only by what you feel. Growth often happens quietly, beneath the surface, in the will, in the heart, in the slow reshaping of what you desire and what you fear. Padre Pio understood something many forget. Divine mercy is not distant. It is not hidden, but it does require cooperation. It requires that we place ourselves again and again in the path of grace. So if you have been praying and nothing seems to change, the problem may not be your desire. It may be your structure. Mercy is being offered constantly, without limit. The question is not whether God is giving it. The question is whether we are truly living in a way that allows it to transform us. And once you begin to live that way, you may discover that the mercy you were seeking was never absent. It was never withheld. It was simply waiting for your full response. Begin today. 1 step, 1 sacrament, 1 decade of the Rosary, 1 Mass attended with real presence of heart. That is where transformation begins.